Good morning, I'm here at my home. Today is day 13 of me reading to improve my enunciation, pronunciation, articulation, and talking like a good, like communicating, good communicator, high agency communicator. I think that all comes later. Today I just have to focus on the enunciation, pronunciation part. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna take far from there. Reality structuring, the idealized path to transformational creation. Reality structuring represents the pinnacle of reality manipulation, the ability to rewrite the fundamental laws that govern reality itself. However, this is a practice that is traditionally reserved for higher forms of consciousness, often referred to as gods, creators, or cosmic architects who operate at a level far beyond the human experience. These beings are responsible for establishing the laws, principles, and governing frameworks that define how the universe operates. While reality structuring is a powerful concept, it is important to recognize that humans are typically not the only ones who are meant to engage in this level of creation directly. Instead, we are co-creators within a pre-established framework guided by a larger governing laws that have already been set in place. This does not diminish our ability to influence reality. It simply places our role within a larger context of creation, one where our focus can be application of reality manipulation and the levels available to us. Who engages in reality structuring? In most systems, reality structuring, the rewriting of universal laws, falls under the purview of cosmic entities or higher dimensional consciousness that create worlds and governing systems. These beings have an inherent mastery over universal creation and the principles of existence, allowing them to structure and alter the very laws that shape reality. For humans, our work with reality is typically more about functionally creating within an existing system, bypassing systems that no longer serve us and overriding certain structures that restrict our growth. These actions may still have immense power, but they operate within the framework that has been created by higher order beings. In short, humans have the ability to influence and reshape smaller scale realities, whether personal, collective, or systemic, but the ability to author the laws governing existence itself is generally reserved for the architects of the reality framework. These higher consciousness may or may not be aware of human efforts at low levels, but the fundamental rules that govern reality, time, space, consciousness, cause and effect are established by them. However, as we expand our consciousness, we are able to engage in greater levels of reality creation. When a consciousness becomes vastly expanded, it can directly interact with universal principles and co create new possibilities within the framework. This does not mean the individual is changing the laws of existence at the highest level, but it means that the individual can align with the larger flow of creation and influence reality at a level that are previously inconceivable. People working with the reality structuring in this expanded states are not rewriting the governing law themselves. Instead, they are aligning with the universal flow of creation and acting as channels for this greater consciousness. They may shape realities and systems in profound ways, but they do so within the scope of reality that has already been set in motion by higher beings. In your journey, the practice of reality structure. Oh my god, this song is very distracting. I really like this song. Can you hear it? It is అదే అని ఉన్న పాటుగా మాయ ముక్కు మీద నీరుగా తరాల నాటి కోపం వినుపేగా. Okay, focus. So, while it represents the ultimate possibilities for those who wish to engage with the grandest level of creation, it is not the point of focus for most people. Instead, your attention is best placed on functional creation, systemic bypass, and structural override, methods that empower you to work within the existing framework of reality. Reality structuring is typically reserved for those who have reached exceedingly high levels of consciousness or have the ability to engage in creation beyond the human limitations. The beings who engage in this level of creations are generally viewed as the architects of reality, responsible for crafting the very principles that guide existence. Most humans, even at their highest levels of consciousness, will work within these structures and alter them locally, not universally. Aspirational, not immediate. As such, reality structuring remains an aspirational goal, a distant potential that exists as an ideal for those who deeply engage in their journey of self mastery and evolution. It is important to recognize that changing universal laws is not a practical starting point for most people. Instead, the real work lies in working in the systems available to us and bending them to our will without needing to completely change the governing laws of existence. It is about finding the balance between the creative power you have as an individual and larger systems at play. Reality structuring can be understood as the ultimate freedom of creation, a practice that may evolve for some as they grow and expand their consciousness. Conclusion: framing reality structuring in your journey. Rather than something you likely to engage in immediately, reality structuring serves as a guiding beacon for those on the path of expansion. It represents the ultimate potential in shaping not just your own life but the very principles that governs all of existence. It is inspiring, transformative, and a goal that you may approach when you're ready to work with the larger forces of creation. I would love to. But for now, focus on mastering functional creation, systemic bypass, and structural override. These steps will allow you to influence your reality in meaningful ways with the possibility of stepping into higher levels of reality structuring when the time is right. Oh, we're done. We've completed fractal authorship. Since we have time, I'm gonna talk about how these fractal authorship can be used in our lives. Although I'm still figuring it out in functional creation ways, I would still like to work within the realm of financial models, because I am currently in a system where the structure is with like credit and debit. I know I'm talking very high level, but I've also touched the topics of policy during my thesis, how collective people are involved in building policy. It is very interesting that everything is very interconnected, and I just would like to play with like different strings and see what structures form, not hurting the values or morals, but like taking into consideration, because I feel like that would add more tune into the perspective. And the goal that I had in my mind, the vision that I had in my mind while reading this, was for me to absorb these concepts of like learning the mechanisms behind reality and also applying them to my life while parallelly improving the way I'm articulating it. So recently I was watching news on how diplomats talk, um, and that really caught my eye because it felt inevitable that I had to go this way of talking to people and expressing my thoughts in a very sequential way, but in a very, this sequential way can be 100 words and not understanding anything, and 10 precise words just hitting the spot. So I just want to learn how to say that. I'm still in like 50 words and still hitting, like trying to make that person understand. And one of the best examples that come into my mind is the YouTuber Heaven Sent Honey. The way she talks about beauty or aesthetics in daily life, she doesn't show the visuals but rather talks with her words, and you can like clearly see that. I feel like that is a level of articulation and speaking skills that I want to achieve. And there is a lot of, I talk like a teacher, but she talks so seductively, and even I want to talk like that, and I will. There's a lot of gap when she's talking. There's a lot of a room for you to imagine what she's talking about. Whereas me, I am just in a hurry to like convey the point and go from here. I've observed this when so I was presenting my findings to my stakeholders in during my thesis hours, and I was just I just wanted to like, as if I'm dumping them with all the information that I know from my brain to theirs, and I was not even, I was just tense. I mean, that's Anjana. She was still in the first phase. I accept that, and yeah, now she is different. She's trying to structure her thoughts and to actually convey what she's trying to tell. And there are so many other YouTubers that I really listen to. They have a good way of articulating their ideas in a very structured way, not just the whole structure, but even each and every sentence that they talk about has a structure and a flow. I want to do that. And also, one thing that really comes into my mind is there is another work by her, this author called Yeshwani, that I would really love to explore, is called Polarity Integration. Although I don't have that right now and it's really costly, but I would really love to read that. I wish I could get a coupon or something so that I can get like investors in reading this. And one more thing that I would really like to do is, after this I'm gonna read Fractal Mastery. So from tomorrow we're gonna start Fractal Mastery. That concept talks about how different like hierarchies of fractals, the universal, the baselines, the primary fractals, the secondary, and all of that. And it's really interesting that most of them have their own way. I am still in the midst of like figuring out which is the primary, which is the secondary, and how should I make changes, because fractal is a pattern where if you make change in the top, like the pattern just, the spiral just follows, or whether it's like a structure just simply follows. It's a self-referential loop. How beautiful it is. First I couldn't understand what self-referential loop means, but now I'm like, oh, self-referential loop, I get it. So everything is universe is self-referential, although some parts I'm still like subconsciously catching myself being like, you know, catching myself having old structures that no longer serve me. That, for example, hard work only leads to success, or like struggle is needed, because these have been, I've been conditioned in my family that this was it. But no, girl, you need to have a shift in mindsets, and you're gonna have, I felt like you're gonna have shifted mindsets if you're being curious and like exploring that curiosity that you have. It is very natural to you, it feels natural. For me, reading these books felt natural. And even dancing and singing, there are other people who are like very talented at them because that comes natural to them. And I was trying to understand what is the phenomenon on people finding them to be natural, because nothing is random. So it's just beautiful that the world is filled with such beautiful structures and beautiful mechanisms of life, and I get to actually be a part of it and change stuff. So one more thing is, I would like to thank my mom for her, you know, participation in this challenge. She was very cute and sweet, and yeah, let me just like show you guys the song that she sang. Very cute.
Hey friends, I'm going to sing a song dedicated to my lovely, beautiful daughters. Give me some time to think. I'm in the bathroom looking at me, facing the mirror as I need all I need. Wait until the reaper takes my life. Never gone, got me, I'll tell lie. I will live 1,000,000,000 lives. My patience is burning. Is this entertaining? Our patience is burning. Is this entertaining? Yo, got this feeling, yeah, you know, where I'm losing all control, cause there is magic in my bones. Yo, got this feeling in my soul, go ahead and throw your stones, cause there is a magic in my bones. Yo. హాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్, ఎలా ఉందనుకుంటున్నారు మీరందరూ? ప్లీజ్ టెల్ యువర్ ఒపీనియన్ ఇన్ మై డ్రాప్ బాక్స్. Hey
Okay.
friends.
This is a kind of a person I have as my mother. She literally like sang Imagine Dragons beat song into like nursery rhymes, but I love her. I love her that I'm her daughter and she's so cute. Anyways, this is just me showing you guys my cheerful mom who's always very cheerful. And because she's like this, I am willing to put myself out there. So, yeah, I think time's up. I'll see you tomorrow.